Hey guys, Wages World coming at you with the morning video. Going to give you guys one of these each day. Going to try to anyway. I'm going to keep it very short and to the point, let you guys know what's going on. And I'll do my live streams at night, just like I've tried to do always. So please, I would really appreciate some support on this and watch them both if you could. Please make the live stream tonight and check out this shorter format here. This is what I used to do all the time. I'm kind of out of practice, so if I jack this up a little bit, please have some patience with me here. I will get better, I promise. But yeah, so let's just kind of jump into it. I'm going to be doing a members only this weekend also, okay? Now, guys, we've had a hyperactive sunspot just kind of appear and start flaring. And what we're looking at here, guys, is this one. This is SDO. It wasn't here like a day and a half ago. This thing actually just popped up, started doing its thing, and hasn't quit flaring. And the reason why is because it's very unstable. You got your reds and blues, which is your negatives and positives, mixing with each other. So when they're mixing, we get reconnection points, and that's what makes it flare. When you get a flare, sometimes you get a big CME with it, or a small CME. But as you can tell, guys, I've always said the sun can do what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. And I've actually even mentioned this exact scenario. This thing popped up in less than a day, and guess what? Check this out. It's already given us 4 M-class flares and almost an X-class right here. And we went into geomagnetic storms for roughly about an hour, but it was because of something different, okay? We've got more than one kind of space weather happening right now. We have a massive coronal hole. We've been connected to it for a couple days now. And as you can see, it's black here because that's the surface. Surface of the sun is actually colder than the atmosphere. They sent the Parker SP probe out there, went into the atmosphere twice. And it was collecting data because they're trying to figure out why the atmosphere of our sun is actually hotter than the surface. Okay? They still don't have an exact answer for that. They got some really cool stuff and some good data on that now. And it does look like they're going to come up with some really good answers for us. So hopefully that'll work out. But check out this sunspot. Look at this thing. It popped up and bam, 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 bam. It just hasn't stopped. And that last one there, you can kind of see that it did produce a CME on that last one. So, you know, is it coming right at us? Don't know. If it does, I don't look for it to be a very big one. It doesn't look like much of the plasma actually left the sun with that one. But this is a communicating sunspot. What that means is I've seen it communicate with these other ones and actually start to flare at the exact same time. So that's actually happening right now. And this is, again, this is a hyperactive one. So in about a day and a half, we won't have to worry about this one anymore. We'll be looking at this, okay? And what am I talking about? Well, look at this. It's a train of sunspot groupings. This is very similar to what happened back in May of 2024 when we got the big G5 storm. It was multiple hits that caused us to get there, right? And some of these are starting to destabilize when you get the reds and blues, like I said. Plus the ones here in the south are doing the same thing. So this one's rotating off. Our focus will shift over here. This is a very large coronal hole. But believe it or not, this one's actually one of the most stable ones on the sun right now. So with that being said, we're going to keep an eye on this, and hopefully, you know, if anything happens, I'll be here to show it to you. I promise. Just because I'm doing an edited video don't mean I won't come on at any given time with a live stream. And I will be here tonight with a live stream. Okay? Now, guys, I told you we got into a geomagnetic storm, right? For a brief period of time. You're not going to find it here at NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center. And the reason why is these are 3-hour averages. The KP indice. That's how we measure it, right? So a KP of 5 equals a G1 magnetic storm. And you can see it's, you know, these are 3-hour averages, like I said. So sometimes we'll get to that level, but it'll be short-lived. How do we know that? Well, luckily enough, we have a German website that gives us the HP, which is basically the same indice, just 30-minute averages. So we did get into G1 storm for about an hour right there. Not all that significant, but it did happen. And it wasn't from a CME. Okay, remember guys, it's from this coronal hole stream. We can't forget that the coronal hole streams will put us into storm levels too. Okay, they can enhance CMEs that are coming. They can actually help steer them. Remember, it's magnetics. So when these charged particles are shooting out, whatever polarity they are, if there's a CME, which happens a lot around the edge of these, and it fires a CME, that coronal hole, the charged particles that are flowing out, have a tendency to either pull it one direction or push it the other. If the polarities in the magnetic fields are similar, like positive to positive, it'll actually push it away a little bit. That could be good or bad, just depends on what direction it's going. Now, if they're opposite, they'll kind of draw together, and when you get that, you actually get a more enhanced CME and coronal hole stream when that CME arrives, because the magnetic fields start mixing, and then when they get here, it's a pretty decent bump, right? So, anyway, I just wanted to make sure that you guys got to see that. Now, we've also got Comet Atlas, okay? Now, a very astute person left a comment, and they were saying, hey, I thought this thing was, Comet Atlas was here like 160,000 years ago, and they're 100% correct, right? This is the BBC. Go over here and read this article. I'm going to leave a link in the description. But yes, last time this comet was here was 160,000 years ago. Okay, so do yourself a favor. Create some memories with your family. Take your kids, take your wife, take your family, mom, dad, I don't care who it is. Go make some good memories, not looking at your phone. Okay? Dr. Tony Phillips over here at spaceweather.com makes it really easy for you. He reports on this stuff all the time. So if you guys go out and look in the western sky right around sunset, like twilight, you may be able to see this thing with your naked eye. If not, yeah, pull your phone out, kind of put it up there, or take some binoculars. Most likely you're not going to need any kind of telescope. Now, if you want a nice, really big view of that, yeah, of course. So, now I showed you guys this. This is SOHO, and here is the comet itself. This is one of the most photogenic that SOHO has ever caught. And that's saying something, because it's caught some really cool ones. It's not I wouldn't say it's the best one, but it's up there, probably top 10 for me anyway. You know, it is kind of a personal opinion on what you think visually it looks like, right? But it is very, very bright. The tail on it is just so much represented. Now, I'm going to show you guys something that nobody else has shown you, almost guaranteed. Okay? And the reason why, they have forgot that we have Stereo A still in action. Check it out. That's the same comet. Alright, so the sun's here. It's making its loop down. Now it's going to progressively get dimmer and dimmer because the sun's not interacting with it as much, and it's getting further away. It is on a highly elliptical orbit, which means it's kind of going more north-south than it is kind of circling around the sun on the ecliptic like Earth does around the equator of the sun. Alright? And again, Atlas is a family of comets. Most likely, I don't know if it was from one big one that kind of just broke up and became smaller ones. Most likely, that's probably it. I'm not 100% sure, but you'll hear us talk about Comet Atlas again, but it's probably it'll have a different number on the end. That's how they kind of, tell them apart. So, yeah. Now, again, -6 on the BZ is so important. If you come over here to the Discover data, what are we looking at? This purple, right? Now, when that red line gets to -6, that's when the purple will show up. That means that we are now in a magnetic position to draw stuff in. So we've been kind of bouncing in and out of it, right? And when we get to the positive end of that right here, it pushes it away. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Now we got popcorn going on here too. What that means is this is a data point, right? It's a dot. When you get data on this, it plots it as a dot. So I call it popcorn because what that means is conditions are fluctuating. Now, if things were kind of static and just kind of staying, nominal, what you would have is one data point, data point, data point right next to each other at the same level, and it would look more like a straight line, like this little section right here. Okay, so when you see popcorn, always stop and look, because that usually typically means we've got some sort of space weather hitting. Not to mention, look at the range over here. It's up to 700 kilometers per second. Kilometers per second. If it gets to 800 kilometers per second with the speed, that's roughly 2 million miles per hour, guys. So it's pretty fast. So, and again, we got to a geomagnetic storm for about an hour, and this is what caused it. It wasn't a CME. So, anyway, so just to kind of recap here, guys, I will be back tonight with a live stream for you guys. Please come support, and just come watch the regular live stream I always do. I hope you guys like these videos too in the morning. I would love to have your support on this too, to kind of get this going again. This is what I always did in the past. So, it may not be the best one this morning. I'm just kind of getting back on the horse with this one. But I did want to show you guys this, because this is this could be big news right here. This thing could X-flare at any time. And I'm not just saying that. Just look at it. And it's communicating with these other ones. So as this one rotates off, though, we're going to turn our attention to this one in the next couple days. And all 4 of these. And 5 if you count that one. Back in May 2024, guys, G5 storm. This was the scenario. We had multiple areas firing CMEs basically at the same time, because they were communicating with each other. And when that happens, you get a pretty big smack in the face. You know what I mean? So, again, guys, this is the magnetosphere. What is that? That is solar wind hitting Earth's magnetic field, right? It creates this, and it almost looks like a comet, right? Because the sun's off to the left, and the energy is moving left to right here. So this is magnetic pressure. We all understand that. This is very, very, wouldn't say it's very intense. This is pretty intense, though. Okay? Sometimes you'll come over here and you won't have any red at all. Other times you'll come over here and about half the screen is red. But when you see the bow shock moving, the standoff position, going compressing and then rapid expansion, which is what happens. There's a compression, and then it rapidly expands back out because it's pushing back, right? Our magnetic field's doing its job. And so the first point of contact between our magnetic field and solar wind or space weather is called the bow shock. So we look at that to see how things are kind of bouncing around out there. So yeah. And again, guys, I'm going to show you this one again. This is stereo A. Yeah, this is amazing. So, if anybody watches this, like anybody else is making making content on this, please show your viewers this one also. Most people forget that this is even here, because stereo A has been kind of just kicked to the side because it's hanging out by Earth now. It used to be roughly about 90 degrees. Gave us a side partial back view of the sun. But it's outlived its lifespan. They brought it back here. And yeah, so that's where it's at. But take your family out, guys. Come over here to spaceweather.com. Give Dr. Tony Phillips some love. And guys, we're going to watch these sunspots. See, look how it was blank. Look at all these sunspots just bam. This is how fast things can change. And this is why I want people to stay aware. That's all. You know what I'm saying, guys? So, I will leave you with this image here one last time. So I'll see you guys tonight. I'm going to be doing the members only stream this weekend also. So hopefully you guys can come check that out. And if you're not a member, please consider being one. We have a blast in those members only streams. Okay? I tried to do them once a week. I've probably been successful, I don't know, if I had to average 2 to 3 times a month, right? So, but I'm going to try to get more consistent, because I want to try to do this for people. People have been asking for this back, okay? Because this is just for this data I'm now casting like Ryan Hall does with regular weather, but I'm doing space weather, okay? So that's kind of what's going on here. But anyway, guys, God bless. Please share this out and get this one going for me. I would really appreciate it. Yahusha saves. And as always, you can drink this Kool-Aid.